Hi guys, welcome to my channel. This is Harper and I'm Krista. This is the first time that we're doing this. I have been on an eating journey for a while now, and I just figured that I'm gonna make some videos and maybe help one or two people out there. Not sure how this is gonna go. Yeah, hopefully I can help somebody. My story kind of begins when I was a kid. I've always had gastrointestinal problems, and it was just my norm forever and ever until I became an adult and realized I was pretty much the only person in my life with the problems that I was having. And it all kind of came to a head when my husband and I went into thinking we wanted to start a family. We had been together for about 5 years and not always been the safest couple, if you know what I'm saying. And we never, hi Mally, we never wound up having a scare. We never wound up pregnant. And so when we were serious about starting our family and realized that we had never succeeded, I started seeking the help of a fertility specialist. At first, we did all of the tests and everything came back normal, which is great, but it's also unnerving because as a Western society, we always are looking for a specific problem so we can fix that problem. And so when I didn't have a specific problem and was labeled unexplained infertility, I just started down the wormhole of Dr. Google, books at the library, bouncing question after question off of my OBGYN. And then I eventually sought out the help of a reproductive endocrinologist at a fertility clinic. Along my fertility journey, they found that my ovarian reserve was at the lowest value to still be considered normal. They told me I shouldn't worry about it, that my age was still okay, and that I shouldn't really stress too much about that value, but it always stuck in the back of my mind. That was about a year and a half ago now. We went to an OBGYN clinic at first who a little bit delved into infertility, but not very much. The first time that I did a medicated cycle, I took Clomid, and after I took the Clomid for a while, my body didn't respond 1 month, had some other issues arise the next month, and by the 3rd or 4th month that I was on the Clomid, we were able to do an insemination. During this process, it was the most pain I have ever had. It didn't work. My heart was broken. Nothing you can really do, so I kind of started looking around again, and I found some very valuable information on a fertility clinic in the cities here, and I found 4 of the 12 books, and I got busy reading. I gained a whole wealth of information from those books, and a whole new world opened up to me. I started with learning how to meditate. It's been my godsend. I meditate every single day, and it has just changed my life. I have learned to manage my anxiety and my stress. I have learned to be mindful. I have learned to seek out advice from other medical professionals, hence my jump from that first clinic to an actual endocrinologist, a reproductive endocrinologist over at the fertility specialist clinic. I learned about different conditions that women might have. I started opening my mind more so into an Eastern medicine approach to my infertility rather than the westernized medicine that we're used to as Americans. Upon my new ventures in the Eastern medicine world, I found the world's best chiropractor She's been through infertility herself, and so we bounce a lot of our experiences off of one another, and she has been a plethora of information for me. Her referral found my acupuncturist, who has been treating my uterus and my ovaries. I go in twice a week and have acupuncture needles inserted. I also have an e-stim machine hooked up to those needles in my ovary area. Those are there to help stimulate my uterus and my ovaries to properly function and be as fertile as they can. It's also very relaxing having the needles inserted all over my body, because then I sit there and I meditate and I just feel this natural high when I'm done, because all the endorphins are released. And it's just, I just swear by acupuncture. I guess a lot of why I'm starting the video is sprouted from my infertility, but I've learned through the infertility that it pretty much all goes back to my gastrointestinal issues that I've had since I was an infant. And so after I sought help from both clinics for about a year, I was referred over to my functional medicine doc from my chiropractor, and my whole life has changed. My functional medicine doctor opened my eyes to an entire world I didn't know anything about. I had been gluten-free for 5 years prior to that, which helped my GI issues a little bit, but they were still pretty intense. It wasn't until I met Dr. Chu and she opened my eyes to what is called the Walls Autoimmune Protocol. I got the book, which I now call my Bible, read it as fast as I could, acclimated to my new eating lifestyle as fast as I could, meaning it took me a probably solid 2 to 3 months to eliminate everything that I needed to eliminate fully to start my healing. After about the first 2 weeks on the protocol, I experienced what people call the die-off phase. And so it felt like I got hit by a semi-truck. I had no energy, my bones ached, my muscles ached, my eyelids ached, everything ached. I had a headache for 2 weeks. I felt like I had the flu. I was nauseous, dizzy, night sweats. I felt awful. And so I did experience die-off, getting rid of all of the other toxins from my body. And after the die-off, I started documenting week by week what vegetables my body could eat when I cooked them, because that was the other missing piece that I did not know about my specific situation, was that I was having a problem with the enzymes in raw foods, which I was eating by the handfuls: carrots, cucumbers, broccoli, just loved raw vegetables. Did not know that they were doing more harm for me than they were doing good. And so week by week, I would cook a new vegetable and I would wait an entire 7-day period to see if I had any symptoms arise. And when I didn't, I would notate that down in my journal and move forward with the next one. So it's been a very slow-moving process, one food item per week, to figure out what my body likes, what my body doesn't like. And here we are today. We fast forward. We have went through winter up here in the frozen tundra. Thanks for my accent, right? I had to eat everything warm during the cold months, because in traditional Chinese medicine, you have to eat with the seasons. So when it is cold outside, like it is half the year up here, I have to eat warm things. So it was a good transition for me, learning I had to cook all of my foods, and it was the winter, so it was kind of 2 birds in 1 stone type of thing. But now that we are reaching summertime and the temperature has shifted, I am allowed to eat cold things, which has been such a joyous thing for me, because let me tell you, 8 months eating almost the same things over and over and over has really worn me down. There's certain dishes I can't even put to my mouth anymore because I've just eaten them every other day for too long. So I'm very excited that it is summer now, and I'm going to be making smoothies. I'm going to be making ice cream. I just have this whole recipe book open to me now. However, I'm going to go into it the same way that I went into last fall and winter, by testing one food item at a time. And so first up, I am going to be testing frozen raw spinach. I want to put that in my smoothies because greens are just about the most important thing on the protocol, and I can't eat them cooked anymore. Hopefully when fall and winter roll around, I will be plenty sick of eating raw and I'll be ready to eat warm again. Fingers crossed. It's been a journey. There's a whole ton of information on the autoimmune protocol that I could bore you to tears with. There's plenty of resources out there. There are support groups, there are Instagram and hashtags that are available to go search and chat with. But I just thought that, I love food. I have been eating food obviously since I was born, but I have been photographing my food for as long as I can remember. My mom has told me over and over after all these years, why don't you do something with this? Why don't you reach out and try to help even one other person? And so after I have been seeing all of these food posts all over social media, I thought, why not me? The worst thing that's going to happen is no one's going to listen, no one's going to watch. It's not going to hurt me any. I'm just sitting here wasting time anyways. The best thing that can happen is I can reach out and help somebody else who is either suffering gastrointestinal issues like myself, or suffering infertility, or any other autoimmune issues. As along this whole up and down journey, I've discovered that at the root of my problems, I have an immense amount of inflammation inside of my body, which all indicate that I have autoimmune issues going on. They have not labeled one specific type of thing outside of having some thyroid issues, but just kind of a general autoimmunity problem. And so I've been working my hardest at lowering my inflammation. I do like to boast just a little bit that when I started the journey, they took blood back in November after I'd been on the protocol for about 2 months. And my inflammation marker was way skyrocketed up at a 35. Not a good thing. You're supposed to be at a 21 or lower. And skip forward 2 months into that, January of 2019, that number went all the way down to a 5. Good job, Team Krista. It's just me. Well, kind of Harper too, because she's my support system. But then fast forward again to about 2 weeks ago up into, what month are we in? May. And my inflammation marker went even further down to a 3. So I'm over the moon at the progress that I've made. All my family and friends know and watch me go through this struggle of preparing everything I eat and looking for only organic and can't eat this and can't eat that and I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do that. The other thing on the journey that I do like to talk about that was life-changing, I read a lot of different blogs trying to figure out my fertility issues, trying to reach out and have support from other people who have been going through this. And I found this blog called tomakeamama.com. She was just an eye-opening writer for me. She taught me about a little tiny thing called phthalates. Phthalates, for me, are just pure evil. I don't have any phthalates in my life except for the ones that are existing in the couch and in the furniture and in the vinyl and just in life where you can't get away from them. But I don't have phthalates in my food. I don't have phthalates in deodorant. I don't wear perfume. I don't have fragrance. I don't buy any shampoo, any lotion, any hand cream, any makeup, any skincare. I don't buy anything that is not on the Earth Working Group's Skin Deep database website with a rating of 1 or lower. I'm extreme, but I've seen the proof of my hard work in those inflammation marker numbers. So for me, yeah, I am extreme, and I do have the world's most heightened sense of smell. I can smell everything, and sometimes it gets me into trouble. But it's worth it for me to have got rid of all of those toxins from my life and just be my best that I've ever been. Another point of interest that I like to touch on with this journey is about my menstrual cycle. I had always had very, very short menstrual cycles, about a 2-day cycle, complete with horrible cramping, pretty light bleeding, but the 6 days leading up to my cycle were the worst for me and the worst for my poor husband. I had PMS like you can't imagine and just was a raging bee all the time. I had sore boobs, I had headaches, I felt lousy, pre-cramping the day before, cramping the full 2 days, just feeling awful. And it wasn't really until about that 2-month marker on the autoimmune protocol that I remember, like it happened yesterday. I was standing at our fridge cooking another meal, and my husband was over here sitting on the couch, and I said, "Babe, did you notice that I'm not a bee to you anymore?" And he just looks at me. "Yeah, I noticed. I just didn't want to say anything and jinx anything." And I just looked at him, and it was this epiphany that I had been under brain fog for almost all my life, and I was being such a bee to him because my body was just crying out in pain, and I took it out on him because he's the closest person to me. I'm with him all the time when I'm not at my job. Realizing 2 months into the protocol that I had been so nasty to him for so long, and now that I had been so nice to him, I realized that I was nice in all walks of my life. The meditation helped me, the eating really helped me, getting rid of the fragrance and chemicals helped me. I am just in such a more positive place today than I was a year and a half ago. I never thought going into such a heartbreaking disease, I guess you could call it, would be so rewardable. In one of my fertility meditations, at the end, when she is helping you go through positive affirmations, she says, "I want you to list 3 things that you're grateful for because of your infertility." And the first time I heard the words, I rolled my eyes. Well, my eyes were closed, but I rolled my eyes thinking, she's crazy. How in the world could anybody be grateful for infertility? She's crazy. She's lost her marbles. And so it took me a couple of times listening to this specific meditation to realize she's onto something. And the things that I am grateful for now that I'm in to the journey as far as I am, and I have reaped all these health benefits the way that I have, I am grateful for my mindfulness. I am grateful for finding my chiropractor and my acupuncturist. I'm grateful for finding my functional medicine doc. Not only are these a team of wonderful women that have guided me on the right path in my health journey, but they've become my friends. They're my allies. They're rooting for me. They're my cheerleaders. I am so grateful that I have them in my life. I am also so grateful that I am no longer a negative person. But I do have my moments. There are certain days where I am still a negative Nelly. But I work so hard to change that negativeness into a positiveness. And I have people tell me all the time, "I notice that you've changed. I notice how happy you are. I can see it in your face. I can hear it when you speak about your journey." And I've never been a person to really boast about anything. But I'm just so proud of the work that I've put in. And I just feel whole. At the beginning of all of this, I longed for that baby so much. And I was crushed and devastated every time I would have my cycle show up. And I would tell myself I failed again. But through learning all of what I've learned through my books and through these medical professionals, it's not my fault. I was born into this body. I didn't choose it. What I'm doing now is my choice, and I hope that one day I will be able to have that baby. But gaining the strength through all of this, I'm going to be okay if it doesn't happen, because it is not in my control. And I have done everything in my power that I can possibly do to achieve a pregnancy, and if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. And starting out, I didn't feel any of this, and today, a year and a half into it, I feel I feel okay with it. It will be disheartening and I will still be sad. I'm human, but I'm going to be able to survive and have my little fur baby here. She is my fur baby. I love her so much. She's been through it all with me. And so I guess after trying to not take too much of your lives away, explaining a little bit of my background, I found mukbangs about 3-4 months ago. I turn my TV on and I oftentimes listen while I'm out chopping vegetables and cooking stir fries and making my food. One morning I was listening to a local talk show and he was interviewing a local foodie who was speaking out about making mukbangs. I never heard the term before. I didn't know what it was. She made it sound and look so easy, and so I thought, hey, my mom's always told me I should do something. I've always photographed my food. I've always talked to everybody in my life about my food. Strangers I talk to about my food. I'm going to give it a whirl and see if I can't do what she did. I'm not saying that I'm going to be as successful, but you never know. And it is fun trying new things and getting new hobbies and maybe taking my mindset off of such a health directive way of living every single day will help me in other ways that I'm not aware of quite yet. And so here I am on day 1 attempting to make a mukbang even though I haven't eaten a single thing. What I have today are just some of my favorite munchies on the Autoimmune protocol. What is in this one is blackberries and blueberries. Gotta get my antioxidants in. What we have here are kalamata olives. Olives are my favorite. I just love them because of all the saltiness and it's good fat for you. And then what we have in this one are sweet potato chips. I was so devastated when I found out that I could not have white potatoes on the Autoimmune protocol. And I for sure couldn't have chips because of all of the unhealthy ingredients that go into chips. And so when I found these bad boys a few months ago at my local co-op, I was over the moon excited because there's a crunch and there's salt and then there's just a little bit of sweet because a sweet potato is sweet. These chips, guys, these chips are the best chips ever. They're by a small company. I believe they're called Jackson's. There's a story written on the bag. Jackson has autoimmune problems and his parents didn't want him to miss out on eating chips, and so they formulated a way that they could make the sweet potato chips AIP friendly so he could still enjoy chips. Once they patented their recipe, they thought, we need to reach out to other people who have these problems so they can enjoy chips too. And I'm just so happy they did because they're so good. So good. On Autoimmune protocol, since I had to cook everything for so long, I really started to miss texture because everything is soft. And having a crunch, just, it's the little things, guys. It truly is. Having crunch back in my life has just been amazing. These bad boys. I could easily down an entire jar of these bad boys. And I often do. And it's guiltless. It's probably boring for you guys, but for me it's the most exciting thing ever. Moving forward, I have found recipes for ice cream, for donuts, for candy, for gummies. So I am going to be presenting junk food items, but underneath they're going to be healthy. I am hopeful that I will be able to reach out to some of the same demographic that other YouTubers have reached with their mukbangs, but do it on a healthier scale, because let's be honest, nobody wants to sit there and watch me eat carrots all day long. They want to watch you eat the bad things and do these cheat days. And so I strive to do cheat days one day too, but just autoimmune protocol sake. Hi. You want one? You don't like those. You like these though, don't you? Oh, was that yummy? You want a bigger one? There you go. I love olives. When I was a kid, I distinctly remember at Christmas and Thanksgiving, Easter, whenever we had meals over at my grandma and grandpa's, the running joke around the table would be, everybody better get some olives before we pass the olive boat down to Krista. Once they get to Krista, they're as good as gone. They weren't lying. I legit would wait till people were done and ask, is everybody done? And I would just pretty much keep the boat in front of my plate, and I would just eat all the olives. As an adult, I think the reason why I love them so much is from the vinegar and the salty flavor of them. I just am a saltaholic. Love salt. I think she's tuckered out. It was the first day that it hit 80 degrees here. It was beautiful outside. I went and had my winter tires taken off of my car and had the summer tires put on, and it was in a location that I wasn't overly familiar with, and so I take little Nugget here with me everywhere I go, and we go on adventures. And today's adventure led us to a beautiful lake. I must have water, like lake water, in my veins, because I didn't know where I was going, but I had this sense of direction that I knew where I was going, and I wound up at a lake. It was beautiful at the lake. Since she has such a black coat, the sun just radiates on her and she just gets hot. And so the breeze from the lake cooled her off. She went in and out of the lake to cool off from the coolness of the water. And then we were in this tunnel of trees. And so all of the shade from the trees helped her cool off. It just was perfection. And I just couldn't have asked for a better afternoon with my dog. And then I got the afternoon off at work, so I got to enjoy even more of this beautiful day. So I'm gonna go out after this and enjoy even more of it. Oh my goodness. This is like the cutest chip ever. I don't know if you could have seen that, but it looks like a little sun. The sun's about to burst into my mouth. That was a good one. The one thing that I have not been able to replicate or replace on the protocol since it's grain-free is popcorn. I miss popcorn in a bad, bad way. I don't allow myself to go to the movie theater anymore because for me, going to the movie theater is eating popcorn. The movie's just like kind of there. I don't go anymore, and I don't surround myself by the smell of popcorn anymore either because I just don't know if I could have enough willpower to say no. I've had a crazy amount of willpower and not even cheated one time on the protocol, and so that popcorn is calling my name. I haven't had chocolate, I haven't had candy, I really, really want some cheese. I miss cheddar cheese like you don't even know. But I'm starting my reintroductions. Fingers crossed when I get to cheese I can have dairy again because I miss dairy so, so, so much. The first thing I did reintroduce was eggs. I have a hard time getting enough protein in, and eggs are an easy go-to. They don't take me forever to cook. I can get hard-boiled eggs and just eat one on the go. So it's been really great having eggs. And the other thing I tried just this week was almonds. I used to eat almonds every single day. They helped my migraine headaches. They helped my slight anemia. They taste great. They're a good fat. So I was so bummed when I learned I couldn't have any almonds or any nuts anymore. And so what Dr. Walls has taught me is that you have to sprout your nuts. There are things inside of nuts called anti-nutrients. And so for somebody with autoimmune problems like myself, the anti-nutrients work against your system instead of, work for your system. And so I took them off the table for a long time, and I attempted to sprout them back, I don't remember, maybe around Christmas time, and it didn't go so well because I got really bad acid reflux from them. And then I sprouted them again just this last week. I sprout them for 3 days. I change the water every 6 hours, let them soak for 3 days, and then I'll dry them out and pop them in my oven at 170 degrees for about 12 to 24 hours. It was so wonderful eating those almonds. I had never tasted almonds so good in my life. So no symptoms, no acid reflux, no headaches, no GI distress. Fingers crossed that these are back on the table for me because I just love almonds. Ugh. One thing I love about berries is that they do have sugar. I am definitely a huge fan of sugar. And when I realized I couldn't have any sugar, my heart was broken. And at first I needed to limit the amount of sugar that I had. They told me to limit it to just berries. If you do introduce any other natural sweeteners, you can only have a teaspoon at a time, or a teaspoon a day, rather. But now that my body has healed so much, I can have a little bit more free range to my fruits. So some days I really do go buck wild and just eat bananas and berries and kiwi, and my newest thing was dried mango. Gosh, that stuff is good. belly is definitely filling up with these snacks here. I only like blueberries though when they pop in your mouth. These ones are the right amount of tart and the right amount of sweet. They're perfect. Well guys, that is going to do it for my first mukbang here. Next time maybe I'll have something more interesting to talk about. Maybe you guys will leave some comments in the section below. If not, I'll have to figure out what I'm going to talk to you guys about next. I really do appreciate any of those who have watched, and if you like what you have watched, subscribe below, like, comment, or just pass my name on so other people can watch. I hope that I helped somebody out there, even if I just reached one of you. The journey is really rough, and some days are a lot more harder than the other days, but you can get through it because I'm doing it. I'm living proof that you can do this. If I can do this, anybody can do this. So to sign off, we're going to say goodbye. Say bye.